Hi guys, so this is your very first cooking lesson that you'll do in hospitality this year. We're making Vietnamese rice paper rolls with sweet chili sauce. And the reason why you're doing this particular dish is to practice those skills of julienne and crushing garlic, as well as learning the skill of sautéing. So sautéing is a method of cooking that we use in hospitality. It's a method that uses a little amount of fat, but a fairly medium to high heat, and we're cooking things really quickly. So you might hear of recipes asking you to saute or to brown. Generally it just means a little bit of fat on a medium to high temperature, and we're cooking it fairly quickly. So what you'll need to do is julienne your carrot, julienne your capsicum, julienne your cucumber. You're going to also practice the skill of chopping. So in here you'll have some coriander and some mint. You've got your pasting of garlic and you've got your crushed nuts or your chopping nuts. And then what you're going to do is also chop up some shallots and fry off some pork mince and those shallots in the garlic. The very first thing that you need to do, however, is get your workstation set up, make sure you're organised. You're going to need to get some vermicelli noodles, which are these. Now I've already soaked these, but what you need to do first of all is soak these in boiling hot water so that by the time you're ready to use them, that they're nice and soft. Okay, so first thing we'll do now is chop our shallot up. Now, with a shallot, we often get a little bit confused as to what part of the shallot we're using. Generally, it's the end. However, you might like to use the end bit for a garnish. It provides a beautiful garnish to your dish. What we're going to do is just chop it fairly finely. Like so. And that is ready to fry off with the garlic and with the pork mince. Okay. So come over to the frying pan with me. What we're going to do is we're just going to add a little bit of oil to our frying pan first. Important to do this before we add the heat, because what can sometimes happen is that oil can catch on fire, and we really want to try and prevent that from happening. So we add the oil into the frying pan first. We turn the heat to medium high and we heat that oil. Spread it around the pan. First thing we're going to add in is our shallots and our garlic. So into the pan, those shallots and garlic can go. And we're just going to stir those for a little bit. We're sautéing them. And the reason why we do this is to extract some of the flavour. It helps to intensify some of the flavour of the heat. Then once you've sautéed those, then you can add your pork mince into the mix. Give it a good stir. Now we're browning the pork mince. We need to make sure that it's cooked all the way through. And if you'd like to add a little bit more flavour to this, you can add a little bit of salt and pepper, just to season it a little bit. So that's the browning of your pork mince. Now, just while that's cooling down a little bit, what I'm going to do is cut my noodles up. So with your noodles, your vermicelli noodles, once they've been softened in the hot water, what you can do is just spread them out as best as you can. I'm just going to cut them into 1 centimetre bits. Okay, now once you've chopped them up, they can go back into the bowl. And into your bowl you can add your carrots and your capsicum and cucumber, as well as your mint and coriander, and your nuts as well. So that all goes into the mix. And then into that we can add our pork mince and our garlic and our shallots. Okay, once you've done that, give it a really good stir to make sure all of those ingredients have been mixed really well. Add a little bit of salt and pepper as well, to give it a little bit more flavour. And then comes the fun part, which is the rolling of the rice paper rolls. So it's a good idea to clean your workspace up a little bit. You need some hot water for this. It doesn't need to be boiling. If it's too hot, it's going to cook the rice paper really quickly, and then it's going to be really hard to work with. If I put this over here. So we dip it in the water. Okay, so your rice paper should look like this. If it's much softer than that, it will be really hard to work with. So once it's like that, put it onto your board, lie it out flat. You're going to grab your fill and about a tablespoon of mixture you're going to add to each rice paper roll. So what you'll do is get a tablespoon, you're going to put it just down the bottom here in the bottom half of the circle. Then what we're going to do is take the bottom, we're going to wrap it all the way over and sort of tuck it in on itself. Then the next step that you need to do is fold both sides in. So it reminds me a bit like rolling up a nappy when you do this. And you're just going to roll it all the way to the end. And that's one rice paper roll. Alright, so guys, once you've rolled all of your rice paper rolls, then it comes to actually plating up your rice paper rolls. Now there's a few ways that you could do this. You could line all of your rice paper rolls up on a plate, or you could essentially just lay them on top of each other like so. Put some sweet chili sauce down the end here. And a little garnish on top, parsley garnish on top. Alternatively, what you could do, just lie them flat next to each other. Making sure they're all the same distance apart. Sprinkle some shallots over the top just to add a bit of colour and make your dish lift a little bit. And then if you really wanted to, could either put your parsley on the top in the middle, or maybe you might like to just put it to the side.